So earlier this year, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa said that they have no plans to announce a new hardware upgrade or revision to the Nintendo Switch.
Liar!
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Now, E3 is coming very soon. In fact, in just a few days from now, upon recording this, E3 will be in full swing in just about 4 days on the 9th, technically starting on the 8th. But we're already getting all kinds of leaks and information popping up all over the place, and game announcements from THQ and other companies as well. And of course, we had the Pokemon Direct today. And on top of all these things, we also have just a ton of listings from retailers like GameStop. They had listed 21 different Switch games that were possibly coming in the not too distant future or to be announced or confirmed soon. And today we had a bunch of Amazon listings for a whole bunch of different software companies. We're not going to list them all here, but basically a ton of different companies were listed on Amazon as far as having new games coming to be announced. None, of course, were titled per se, but they all had listed a dummy title next to their name. So basically like Nintendo or Bethesda with a /dummy 2019 title next to their name. And the reason why this makes sense for these listings to pop up right now is because they are about to be announced. Bethesda, Ubisoft, Nintendo, Microsoft, Square Enix, they all have press conferences, or if you're Nintendo, you have a Nintendo Direct coming up in just a few days. So there's going to be an absolute ton of different games announced soon, and release dates and titles and pre-orders and all those things are going to happen. But what about new hardware? Now, we do know that Sony has been talking about PlayStation 5 and they're not at E3, but of course we don't have any hardware listings for them yet on sites like GameStop and Amazon and Walmart, who famously in 2018 leaked like the entire E3, which made a lot of YouTubers very busy last year, of course, with the majority of those games coming true and a few of them not coming true. But it was the biggest retail leak, I believe, pre-E3 in history by Walmart. That was just crazy. And then of course we have GameStop this year. Now we have Amazon today. And credit goes to Wario64 for finding this. And getting back to what we're talking about with consoles though, Xbox and Microsoft is heavily hinting that they might possibly be showing the new Xbox at E3 at their press conference. They're tweeting a ton today about how excited they are to invite something new to their press conference, and then replying and tweeting over and over again how excited they are for this announcement. So I do think this is going to be their new Xbox that they're going to be showing. Of course, I could be wrong, but when you think about what Sony just did with the PlayStation 5 in the last month or two, since April to May, we've been repeatedly hearing about new information on the PlayStation 5, its graphics capabilities from developers even, and of course the load times, which have been well reported on and pretty exciting to think about. And now quite possibly we have Xbox about to reveal their new console at E3 for a preview and of course release possibly in 2020. But what about Nintendo? Now Nintendo has gone on record and said that their Nintendo Direct will be strictly games focused. And then of course the president of Nintendo said earlier this year that Nintendo would not be revealing any new hardware at E3. But now we have this pop up today where it looks like they might actually be revealing new hardware either at E3 or around the E3 time range. And the reason why I say that is because in those listings, an unnamed Nintendo Switch console with the title, of course, dummy next to it, just like all the other unannounced software titles that were listed on Amazon. The Nintendo Switch console dummy for 2019 was listed also on Amazon and posted by Wario64. And this would be quite obviously for a new Nintendo Switch piece of hardware to be announced by Nintendo. Now it is possible that this could be a bundle for the Nintendo Switch current version to be bundled with one of their new games that they're going to be showing at their E3 Direct, similarly to how they did with Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, Smash Brothers, and Diablo last year. But the interesting thing about those bundles is that they were all announced away from E3. And here we have all this new hardware being announced by all these companies. We have Google Stadia. We have Samsung announcing their partnership to create GPUs for gaming. We have Apple just announcing their new hardware with the Mac Pro, which is like the most powerful GPU there is, of course the most expensive too. And of course the previously mentioned Sony with PlayStation 5 last couple months. And most likely here we have Xbox knocking on the door about to show their new piece of hardware as well. So where does this leave Nintendo? Is Nintendo going to go ahead and show their new variants of the Nintendo Switch, Switch Mini, Switch Lite, Switch Pro, what have you, at this E3 presentation? And of course, if you've been following me for the past year plus, we've been talking all about the new hardware coming from Nintendo. It is going to happen. We know it, obviously. But will this be when Nintendo does announce it? And a couple things to remember, guys, is that Nintendo has not yet announced any games playable. Still, to this day, they have not announced any games playable at the E3 show floor, and they have that Warp Pipe Pass getting ready to be used to reserve your place in line for one game per day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week at E3, you can reserve your place in line without having to wait. If you get that Warp Pipe Pass fast enough, that is, because Nintendo did say on their FAQ that there will be limited amounts of this Warp Pipe Pass available to use for the fans. So what exactly am I, since I'm going to be there, going to be reserving to play at E3? Nintendo hasn't announced anything yet. Their Direct is coming on the 11th at 9 a.m. in the morning my time. So what is going on here? It's really weird. It's a lot that Nintendo is not talking about here. It's very quiet on Nintendo's front as far as what they're going to be showing or focusing on at E3. All they said is games, right? And here we have this Nintendo Switch console dummy placeholder for 2019 showing up here right before E3 when Nintendo just said they weren't going to be talking about hardware. It's kind of funny because even if they aren't announcing a Switch Pro or Switch Lite at this E3, them announcing a new hardware bundle would basically be confirming that they lied and when they said they wouldn't be talking about any hardware at E3, because that would be basically a new hardware announcement by them announcing a new bundle for their hardware. So it's kind of interesting to see this. And then if you go back to my last video talking about Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch, in their source code on their website, they listed the Nintendo Switch and they listed the Nintendo NX dock in their source code with one occurrence of the NX codename there. The NX was the codename for the Nintendo Switch before it was released. And if you think about it, what would be an enhanced Nintendo Switch? Well, it would be an enhanced Nintendo NX, right? So there's a lot of weird, mysterious things going on here, guys. And I'll be the first to admit, if Nintendo already did come out and say what games they'll be focusing on at E3 to be playable, and if you could reserve your spot in line right now, then maybe I wouldn't be quite as skeptical as I am as far as what Nintendo's going to actually show at E3, because they have lied multiple times in the past, like straight out lied and done the exact opposite of what they said they were going to do as far as their plans for hardware is concerned. And with everyone surrounding them in the industry right now, guys, every single company's announcing new hardware all around them. Is Nintendo really going to not announce new hardware? It seems like this would be the perfect time to do it because basically everyone else is doing it. I say let's see what Nintendo can do on their end and see what they got to show, because everyone else is already preparing for the future. They're already announcing their products, they're already announcing their plans. I think it's time for Nintendo to do the exact same thing and unveil what they have planned for the future of the Nintendo Switch. And there's no better time to do it than now, either at E3, before E3, after E3, what have you. There's no better time to do it, because what that does is that it lets developers and fans know right now very clear what their goal is long term if they do that. And combining all that together yet again with them being very vague on what they're going to be showing at E3 playable. And here we have this new Nintendo Switch console listing on Amazon for 2019. This really adds more fuel to the fire in my opinion. I do think we're going to get a new Nintendo Switch console announced very soon, guys. Let me know what you think though in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think is going to happen at E3? Do you think Nintendo's going to announce a new console before or after E3, or actually at E3 itself? Do you think they've been playing possum this whole time? That is very like Nintendo if they have been. So I'm very curious to see what you guys think about all that. Alright guys, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.
Thank you.